Yes. Hello, hello. This is the One Gospel Chronological Bible in a Year Overview, episode number 10 with Heath
And Holly.
and Holly. I think it's time for us to share. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Dun, dun, dun. Going to share. Do, do, do. Sharing is caring. Now we get to hear CJ's intro music. Welcome to the One Gospel Bible Caravan. This is days number 59 through 65, and if you're keeping up, that means this is what starts tomorrow for the next week. Okay, I am going to fade. Fade. Look at that, Holly. We're making progress.
Yes, we are.
Doesn't that look like a nice chunk of the pie?
It does.
Excellent. So we got a lot of numbers this week. Isn't that exciting? It's literally 90 minutes of numbers.
Numbers.
And it's covering 40 years in time, roughly. And as you can see, and we knew this from last week's overview, numbers doesn't go in alphabetical order or chronological order. Doesn't go in alphabetical order either. That would be a very strange thing. But you can see that numbers 7, 8, and 9 are kind of a hole in the second day because it goes from number 6 to numbers 10.
Correct.
Okay, so what is going to come up? Well, we got the census of the Levites. We got lepers taken out of the camp. Lots of laws, like lots of laws.
Laws.
And the Israelites leave the wilderness of Sinai, which means they leave Mount Sinai. This is the 20th day, second month, second year that happens. There's a plague of fire. There's the provision of quail. And then another plague. Aaron and Miriam confront Moses. It does not go well for Miriam. And then they make it to the edge of Canaan and send in spies, and it's just a sad story. So they end up having to stay in the desert 40 more years.
Yikes.
And then there's more laws.
Laws.
Korah's rebellion and another plague and the miracle of Aaron's rod. And then there's more laws, Holly.
And sense the theme.
Yeah. And then Miriam dies. The rock brings forth water in the area of Meribah, which means bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Edom does not allow Israel to go through. Aaron dies. And then Israel starts winning some battles, but has more plagues. Balaam the prophet appears, and he's an interesting character. So that's what's coming up in the reading. We're going to relate bits of this now to the gospel because the center of our universe here at One Gospel is the gospel, and specifically Jesus the Christ. So here's a reference by Jesus. You want to read that, Holly?
Yes. Let's see. Here we are. Matthew 27:6. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I didn't know you had to look it up. So number 621, the offering or korban of the Nazarite at the end of his separation was an oath that must be carried out. In Mark 7:11, Jesus chastises a person for not caring for a parent because they have devoted their resources as korban, which is called an offering. Matthew 27:6 describes the temple treasury as korbanis, meaning there was a system of korban that operated as a type of bank with deposits and debts. So what do you think happened for this to develop in between Numbers and the time of Jesus, which was a lot of years? I'm going to estimate is around 1600 years.
Mm-hmm.
Another reference by Jesus. Why don't you read John 3:14? She doesn't have this. She could just read the slide. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. So this is referenced by Jesus. I'm sorry. The reference that Jesus is making is described in Numbers 21, 4-9. Do you want to read that, Holly?
Then they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom, and the soul of the people became very discouraged on the way. And the people spoke against God and against Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there's no food and no water, and our soul loathes this worthless bread. So the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents from us. So Moses prayed for the people. Then the Lord said to Moses, Make a fiery serpent and set it on a pole, and it shall be that everyone who is bitten, when he looks at it, shall live. So Moses made a bronze serpent and put it on the pole, and so it was. If a serpent had bitten anyone, when he looked at the bronze serpent, he lived.
Ray Holly! You're so cute. I like your little smile. Okay. What am I doing here? There we go. The Bible has more to say about this mysterious guy, Balaam, son of Beor. You gonna read any of that, Hal?
2 Peter 2:15 through 16. They have forsaken the right way and gone astray, following the way of Balaam the son of Beor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, but he was rebuked for his iniquity. A dumb donkey speaking with a man's voice restrained the madness of the prophet.
Jude 1:11. Woe to them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, have run greedily in the error of Balaam for profit, and perished in the rebellion of Korah.
Revelations 2:14. But I have a few things against you, because you have there those who hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to put a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit sexual immorality.
So we see here that 2 Peter and Jude both blame Balaam's actions as prophet. You know, he was a prophet for hire by Balak. And they're also in Revelation saying that he had a doctrine basically that led to idolatry. So, those are the only references we have for these sections in Numbers, but we still came up with what I think are some interesting questions to think to yourself. And so I'll read the first one, and then Holly will read the second one, and we'll keep going. So the first one from Numbers 4:3. The age of service of the Levites began at 30. Is it a coincidence that Jesus begins his ministry at 30? Luke 3:23 is the reference for that.
Numbers 5:27 through 29. Infertility is one of the consequences of infidelity. Is this context as to why women who did not conceive felt public shame? Genesis 30:23, 2 Samuel 6:23, and Luke 1:25.
Numbers 6:2. Unlike Levites and Aaronic priests, Nazarites could be anyone, similar to prophets. They were still around in the time of Amos, which is much later. Are the monks, friars, sisters, and nuns of today an inheritor of this group?
Number 6:3. The Nazarite vow includes abstinence from alcohol. Samson was a Nazarite from birth. Judges 13:7. Was John the Baptist?
That's an unanswerable question, isn't it? Numbers 6:23. Aaron blessed the children of Israel with a specific formula. How do you think Jesus blessed the little children in Mark 10:16?
Numbers 9, 10 through 11. The Passover is the only holy day with a do over for uncleanliness. Why do you think that is? For context, in First Chronicles 29 through 30, the Passover was kept on the second month because the temple needed to be cleansed on the first month.
Numbers 10:1. The silver trumpets are used to call assemblies, reserving the shofar for special occasions such as the Feast of Trumpets. Why do you think that is?
Numbers 11:6. The people complain about the manna. They are later told why they were given manna to eat. Deuteronomy 8:3 and 16.
Numbers 11:21 through 22. Compare Moses' answer to Yahweh to the disciples' answer to Jesus when he tells them to feed the crowd of 5,000 men, found in Matthew, Mark, and Luke.
Numbers 11:25. The spirit of Yahweh came upon the 70 elders and they prophesied. What did they say? Acts 2:11 gives a possible description. How does this compare to Jesus sending out the 70 disciples in Luke, giving them the authority to heal and cast out demons?
It's almost like we're making a lot of connections between the Gospels and the Old Testament.
Yep.
It's almost like we're doing that. It's wild. Anyway, let's keep doing this. Numbers 11:28. Compare Joshua's complaint and Moses' response to the disciples' complaint to Jesus in Mark 9:38 and Luke 9:49.
Numbers 12:6 through 8. Everyone of that generation except Moses experienced Yahweh's prophetic word via dream or vision. Yahweh spoke to Aaron alone, previously in Leviticus 10:8. Do you think this implies it was either through a dream or a vision?
Numbers 14:21. All the earth will be filled with the glory of Yahweh. Is this a future event or has it already occurred?
Numbers 14:34. The time in the wilderness was a punishment, 1 year for every day they searched the land. But for the generation that survived, what was the purpose of 40 years? Deuteronomy 8:2.
Numbers 14:22. What what are the 10 times the Israelites tested Yahweh? He said, 10 times you have tested me. So this is my possible list. Panic at the Red Sea, the bitter water at Marah, complaining for food in the wilderness of sin, hoarding manna, gathering manna on the Sabbath, lack of water at Rephidim, the golden calf, complaining at Taberah, craving meat at Kibroth Hattaavah, and the rebellion after the spies' report.
Numbers 15:22 through 31. The Torah differentiates sins of ignorance and intentional sin. Compare this with Luke 12:47, John 9:40 through 41, John 15:22 to 24, Acts 17:22 to 29, and 1 Timothy chapter 1, 12 through 13.
Numbers 15:34. The people put the man under guard because they didn't know what to do when they found him working on the Sabbath. See Exodus 31:14 to 15 and Exodus 35:2. What does this say about the knowledge of God's revealed word at the time?
Numbers 15:37 through 40. Do you think this is the type of tassel that Jesus wore when he healed the woman of her hemorrhage, found in Matthew and Luke? Is this the tassel the Pharisees were chastised for in Matthew?
Numbers 19:16. Touching a grave makes one unclean. Is this why David and Jesus call their adversaries tombs? So see Psalms 5, Matthew 23, and Luke 11 for that.
Numbers 24, 1 through 4. The Spirit of God came upon Balaam, yet he was later killed by Israel. See Numbers 31:8 and Joshua 13:22, and blamed by them as a source of false teaching, leading to a plague in Numbers 31:16. What does this tell us?
Now, I've given you a bunch of questions for the coming week, but of course, last week we gave you a bunch of questions, and Holly's going to go over her favorite question.
So every week it's a challenge to pick a favorite question because there's many interesting questions here. But the one that caught my eye from last week was found in Leviticus 17:7. The Hebrew word for demon, sayer, is also exclusively translated as goat and less often as hairy. So a hairy goat. The Samaritan Bible has gate, Hebrew shire. What do you think is being described here? So, um, in the
Can we read the
yeah,
verse
why don't you read the
first?
verses?
Here we go.
Heath?
They shall no more offer their sacrifices to demons, after whom they have played the harlot. This shall be a statute forever for them throughout their generations.
You can read all of them.
Oh, okay.
Might
I'll
as
read
well.
the verses and then you'll do the summary.
Yes.
Excellent. Second Chronicles 11:15. Then he appointed for himself priests for the high places, for the demons, and the calf idols which he had made. It doesn't sound good.
Nope.
Isaiah 13:21. But wild beasts of the desert will lie there, and their houses will be full of owls. Ostriches will dwell there, and wild goats will caper there. Isaiah 34:14. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the jackals, and the wild goat shall bleat meh, to its companion. Also, the night creature shall rest there and find for herself a place of rest. I don't want to meet some female night creature.
Me neither.
Sounds like a succubus.
Doesn't sound like anything good. So Heath, I guess you already did. You flip back to the first slide.
I did.
So in the Old Testament, the Hebrew word seir or Syrian, meaning hairy one or he goat, is linked to demons through pagan worship and wilderness imagery. These serim are interpreted as goat demons or satyrs. I might be saying that wrong. Satyrs. I think.
I'll go with satyrs.
Yeah, I'm butchering these words. I apologize to everyone.
You're doing fine.
Representing idol worship.
See, your fans adore you.
Yes. So these satyrs represent idol worship. The idol worship that the Israelites were forbidden to follow, often associated with wild, desolate areas. So goat demons, and then you see the word there, sayer, is the standard word for a he-goat, but it was used to describe a goat-shaped, hairy demonic figures that were worshipped in the high places. They were regarded as or associated with evil spirits or demons. That's a really good one there. Wilderness association. These demons are associated with the wilderness, as you see in Isaiah 13:21 and 34:14. So what do I think about this? Because, answering Heath's question. So the Hebrew goat and demon, I think, as demonstrated above, are often interchangeable terms in the context of forbidden idolatry, directly linking the animal with the evil spirits. And I think on the slide with the Bible verses, there is a picture of a satyr there from Greek mythology and what they look like.
Is that Pan?
Yes. So there you go. There's our
Thank you, Holly. Okay, let's make this study better together. So please pass on important cross references I didn't provide. Give me feedback on making the chronological sequence better. Give me questions that I didn't think of. And we'll see you next week. It has been lots of fun. We're going to stop sharing so we can be back on the camera just for a moment. And we can be like, peace out.
Yes.
So see you in a week, probably around this time, if not Saturday morning, but we'll shoot for Friday evening.
God bless.
God bless.